If I had not had so effective representation, if I hadn't had people willing to volunteer to work on my case, if I hadn't had a lawyer who was willing to work at whatever the minimum wage is for attorneys, I would have been lost. My heart goes out to anyone who becomes a subject of these kinds of ridiculous and unfettered prosecutions. Our system operated by providing book dealers with a piece of software for a personal computer and a telephone number, an 800 number to dial with a modem.
Not quite a website, but it had a database connection that it built where people could upload lists of the books in their inventory onto this system. And then you could then, if you were a dealer or a subscriber, you could then see whether a book you wanted was anywhere on the system that somebody else had in their inventory.
The door burst open and there was a very tall, very large individual wearing full body armor and a helmet with his hand on his pistol, followed by, I think, 6 or 7 other well-armed individuals. They burst into each of the 3 little offices that were off of our main sort of reception area, and I was instructed to step away from my computer. Couldn't imagine that I'd done anything, and I very naively thought that because I hadn't, that I didn't really have a problem.
The Electronic Communications Privacy Act, the Wiretap Act, has a category of players, so to speak, that include these internet service providers, ISPs. And the notion was that the ISP, Brad's ISP, had made an extra copy of a whole large set of emails that had to do with the buying and selling of books. Then there was a copy that was not sent to the recipient, to the addressee. There was an extra copy being made by the system, and they said that was an interception. The making of the extra copy was an interception. But there was actually a whole separate section of the act called the Stored Communications Act. And that part of it said that the internet service provider could make a copy, nobody else, just the internet service provider could make an extra copy if, when he did so, the mail was in temporary storage between the sender and the receiver.
It was a period of 2 years from the time the search took place until I was actually indicted. And there were several opportunities to plead guilty along the way, which I, of course, refused.
The next step was deciding what to do, because I had to explain to him, look, this is not riskless. Somebody who's got a robe on can say that I'm wrong, and you could get convicted. We were in a position of saying, wait a minute, how can you charge this guy with a crime when the law that you're relying on affirmatively states that what he did is legal? When the judge decided to dismiss his case, I told Brad that he was off the hook, that the case had been dismissed, but that the government told me that they were going to appeal, so we weren't quite out of the woods yet, but we were certainly in a better position than we were when we started.
There was a trial date set, and since I had not cooperated, I had not accepted any of their generous offers, I was clearly looking at going to jail.
Brad and I met sometime in either 2000 or early 2001, and we won the case in February 2007.
At the moment when the verdict was read, there was no great sense of exultation on my part at all. It was just one of tremendous relief. I just kind of looked up and very silently said, "Oh, thank you, God." I was very depressed and unhealthy. Didn't work, of course, for several years. Very difficult to get a job when you have to tell a prospective employer that, oh, by the way, I may reappear on the front page of the newspaper for several days and have to take a couple weeks off for a trial, at which I might be convicted.
It's a real Kafkaesque experience for the client and for the lawyer to be confronted by a situation where judges can't agree about whether something is a crime, and yet they go ahead and prosecute the person as if it was obvious enough to do that. And that's terrifying.